wow. Because I didn't take him exactly where he thought I was. And he went, that's really interesting. I would love to talk to my wife about that. I would love for you to come back and visit with us again. And 2.5 years later, we announced $1 million gift that doubled, more than doubled, his lifetime giving to UConn.
Oh.
And to me, that happened because I didn't rush it. I didn't go in for the gift. I went in for the relationship. And the relationship created a stronger bond, stronger connectivity, and ultimately, I believe, a larger gift because I was as interested in the relationship as I was the gift.
Good, that's great. This is great example actually.
Yeah, and it speaks to who I am. When they interviewed me for the job, I said, if you want someone who's hard sells, who's going to push for the gift over the relationship, I'm not your guy. Because there are operations, foundations, who work that way, who are about the numbers. How many people did you visit? How many gifts did you solicit? How much money did you raise? If those are our only measurements, in my opinion, I have failed this organization. Because when I walk out of the door, so does that. But if I build relationships to this university, to people at this university, to programs, to students, not to myself, then I create a different environment that is sustainable over time.
Right, that's a great example, and most of the fundraising organizations they are counting the numbers. And
Yep.
it's good. So there is one more fundamental question is regarding your team, selecting your team, hiring new guys, firing old ones. That comes with the organization. The GE CEO, he has his own calculator. The lowest 10% people he drops off and hires new one. And somewhere I read that one person asking another president or CEO how you get this or how you train your staff. They say, I don't train, I hire good people. So when it comes to your team, when you're hiring someone, you look for some traits in them. And who are working here, you also look for some traits in them. What is the most important trait to be a good team member, especially in your organization, in this setting, that you look for when you are hiring someone?
Great questions you're asking. I want to say two things, but if you're going to make me say one, but to me, a great team member. I've gone back and forth as you asked the question between two words that I would say is what I look for. I want confident leaders. I want people who don't necessarily need to look to me for every answer, but have a confidence in their own leadership that they can bring solutions to the table. Because if everyone's looking to one person, the organization's not going to succeed. And having people who have a confidence in their own abilities and an ability to bring forward to leadership, right, in a number 2 role or as part of a senior management team. I need people who are vocal, right, who are innovative and creative in their own right, all words that I would use. But to me, and I was trying to think, you have to have a level of confidence in your own, to speak up in meetings, to be innovative in your leadership. You can't do the other things and the other words that I thought of because I like people who are creative. I use the word creative and innovative. I like people who speak up in meetings. I like people who disagree. But if you don't have confidence in your own leadership, I think it's almost impossible to do those other things, right? So I want people, I mean, as you know, you've repeated today some of the famous quotes in management and leadership, right? One of the ones I've heard is hire people smarter than you in their function. Not everything that happens in this organization am I an expert at, but I do believe I possess the qualities to lead this organization forward. And I believe I have that because I have a good senior management team and I hire people who are competent and people under them who are competent in certain functional areas that make us stronger as a whole.
So, yesterday I received email from Heather that she said she is confirming this interview, and I replied back, yes, I will. I will be there and I will be in time. So when I received that email, that little thing told me that I am going to meet a well organized organization. I am going to be in an organization that is really organized. There are organizations that are not organized.
Yep.
So that is, I mean, this is a very small thing, but I have not seen from many people. Yes, there are automated reminders, but that was personal.
Yep.
So
And personal, right? Even in everything we do, I have high standards. I expect us to meet those high standards with great consistency. And I expect us to create an environment that is personalized, right? And that, if you will, absolutely are mantras that I live by myself. And I've started making, to me, those types of things should continue to drive your decision making, right? So I send thank you notes to our largest donors.
right.
Oftentimes I'm seeing these donors in person, and 2 weeks later I'm signing letters to them, disconnected, because I saw them at an event, but then I'm signing a letter for a gift that they sent in.
Mm-hmm.
And I was getting form letters that were pseudo personalized and writing long handwritten notes on the bottom. When I finally said, why am I not just writing a handwritten note? Because that handwritten note is way more personalized than a form letter that I wrote a note on.
Right.
And any decision I can make in the organization to save the time of a team member and yet to personalize the experience that I'm trying to build, it's a win-win.
Right.
It's a win-win.
So, while talking to you, I believe you are intrinsically motivated. Is there external motivators that you look for too?
External motivators. We're going to go full circle. The first question you asked me was about my family, right?
Yeah.
And my mother finished 8th grade. My dad graduated from community college the day of my senior prom. Education has changed my life. Travel has changed my life. Perspective of culture and people and religions has changed my life. So, are there external motivators? Yes, there's students who walk up and down the sidewalk. They're faculty members that I engage with. I made a decision in my late 20s, because I had been working in development and fundraising, that if this was my career, my chosen profession, that it would be for higher education.
Right.
And it would be, I love everything we do. Every gift we raise, everything to help this university become better. I feel at the end of the day, I've done something good. But when I raise a scholarship for a student who otherwise wouldn't go to college. It means something here,
Right.
right? So there's a little extra motivator. And again, as I say, not that the for-profit world isn't a great, right, and noble profession, right? Investment banking and earning money for people that are, right? Those are all good things. But for me, that extra motivator, that I'm at the top of my career in my, almost mid-40s, right? I'm 44. So, and I have the ability for the next several decades to transform the lives of people.
Right.
To make a good living, to do well, there's nothing wrong with that, right? And yet, to take that and to really change the lives of people that are impacted by the organizations I serve. And that's an extra motivator.
Right. When we talk about sales and marketing, they say that in sales there is more failure than success because you meet 100 people and you sell to one person. And they say in the baseball also the hit rate is maybe 10 or 20%, and with 15% you can be the champion.
Right.
So, well, you are meeting people, building relations, and you don't see money or gifts
From everyone.
coming in from everyone or sooner. Your staff would also be engaged in same type of activities. Do you see them that they feel unmotivated or depressed that
Depends on how I evaluate them. If I only evaluate them back to the earlier conversation on how much money they raised, how many gifts they got, then yes, I think you can demotivate your sales force because we have a sales force, right? In a different way.
Yeah.
But in a university environment, I think in a nonprofit environment, regardless of the organization, an arts organization, a boys and girls club, right? I have a different benefit. Because even if I didn't get a gift, I may have reconnected someone to the university. I may now have a mentor for a student. I may have an alum who's referring kids from their local high school. I may have other benefits to that interaction. And to me, you have to value all of those things. I say no involvement, no investment.
Right.
Again, in the sales world, you get the sale or you don't. In my world, it's not that I get the gift or I don't. I get the gift or I get a reconnected alum.
Right.
Who can now be a mentor to students, can be an advisor, can be a champion for what we do, can be an advocate out in the world for this university and its work. And it's not a gift, but aren't those things valuable too?
Right.
So I think we have to look at what we measure, how we measure it, and what we reward in terms of maintaining that motivation of our team.
Yeah. So I studied somewhere it was written that managers actually most of them they want immediate gratification, immediate profits, and investors are looking for those things, that how much profit is coming. And so the non-profit actually is mostly people do what is short term and then the companies fail. So long-term success is in the relationship, yes, and then it's going on. And I would say it's wonderful. I know my time is over.
Yeah. You talk about a well-run organization, right? They keep me on time.
So I would say thank you very much.
Thank you.
And
so you talk about the 1 Minute Manager, which is one of my favorite books from a decade ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you like suggestions, and this is a fast read, but it summarizes my own leadership, right? There's a book. It's called Rules of the Red Rubber Ball,
Okay.
Okay, it's by Kevin Carroll. Is his name.
Mm-hmm.
Rules of the Red Rubber Ball, and it's a funny little book, right? Because you'll see, even in how it folds out. But it really is about finding your motivation in life and your passion and what drives you. And I always tell people that this first page is my favorite.
Let me go through.
Right?
Okay.
So, the master in the art of living makes little distinction between his work and his play, his labor and his leisure, his mind and his body, his information and his recreation, his love and his religion. He hardly knows which is which. He simply pursues his vision of excellence at whatever he does, leaving others to decide whether he's working or playing. To him, he's always doing both.
Good.
Right? So this book, in many ways, summarizes my own philosophy. And I think in some ways it is culturally that we are in a society that we're always working. But we should always be playing too and enjoying what we do.
Yeah.
And when you're enjoying what you're doing, even if you're working, you approach it differently.
This is the best
You
thing.
approach it differently.
So I will take a small view of your office. This wonderful office. Yeah.